Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. Welcome back to the second part of our first lesson. Just a quick recap of what we did in lesson 1, the first part. We spoke about the audience. Who does it appeal to? Whether males or females, and then their gender. And also we spoke about the age group of the audience and their interest. Now, in this second part, we will talk about the purpose of writing articles. Why is it written? Why are they written? There are different purposes of writing an article. Let's say, for example, if you find an article about, let's say, a country or giving information about a place. So, what is the purpose of the writer? He is trying to inform you about the place, maybe, and maybe he's trying to convince you, persuade you to go to that certain place that he's writing about. So there can be different purposes of writing articles. Let us see some of the purposes why the articles are written. Let us look at the first one. Article is written sometimes to present an argument. Argue. Okay. Sometimes articles are written to persuade, convince someone to go to a certain place, convince someone about the writer's point of view. Also, it can advise you something to do or not to do, to go to that place or not to go to that place, and so on. It can also advise. Another purpose can be to inform the writer, the reader, about a thing, about a place, etc. It can also be written to explain certain concepts, a method, and so on. It can also describe something, and it can be written to review something, review a film, review an article, and so on. And then it can also be written to entertain the audience. Entertain the audience. So these are the different purposes why articles are written: to argue, to persuade or convince, to advise, to inform, to explain, describe, review, and to entertain. Now, what are the key features of an article? It can state facts. If I'm writing about a place, it can state facts or give you figures, or if it is an argument or let's say opinion essay also, or opinion article, so it gives the opinion of the writer. So it can be facts, it can be opinions. And what type of language does the writer use? It depends, like we said, it depends on the type of audience. It can be formal language, it can be informal language. The language can be simple, it can be complex or technical, emotive or descriptive language. So we need to understand different type of language that the writers use to suit their audience. If they are writing an article for children, as I said, they would use simple language so that they can understand. Now, also the writers use different language features to make the article more interesting, to hook the readers to the article. So for this, they can use similes or metaphors. They can use imperative language if they are writing, an article about how to bake chocolate cake, for example. Imperative language is used there. They can, if they are writing, an opinion, giving an opinion in an article, they can use modal verbs or if they are writing something to advise someone, they can use modal verbs. And of course, rhetorical questions are also used by the writers to make the readers ponder about something, about their concept that they are presenting there, about their ideas. So the reader starts to think why this question has been posed by the writer. So rhetorical questions are also used. Last but not the least, you also have to understand which person you should use in writing an article. Should I use I, which is the first person, or do I use you, that is the second person, or do I use the third person, which is he, she, it, and they? So these are some of the features that you have to keep in mind when you're writing an article for the magazine or the newspaper. Okay. Do I present facts or do I give opinion? So it depends on the genre that you are writing. Okay. And then what language do I use, whether formal, simple, emotive language, technical words, descriptive, informal, and so on. And there are some features that you have to use to make it more interesting, more appealing for the readers, to hook them to the article, to make it more interesting. And also you have to consider which person you will use, whether it's the first person, second person, or third person. I hope it is clear till here. Let us move on and let's see, apply, whatever you have learned there, let us try to apply, the features here. Now, if you see this is a small extract from the article. Now, if you see the title here, it says Taste of Bread's Production. You remember the magazine covers that we have seen in the first part? Yes? Which magazine do you think this article is taken from? Is it from Fashion Magazine? Or is it from that magazine which was called as Kick? Or was it taken from a PC Gamer? Or was it taken from the Biscuit World? Yes, you are right. The last one, the Biscuit World, because the name itself says Biscuit World. So something about baking or biscuits or breads. Yes? So Taste of Bread's Production. Now the audience, we know, as we told, that it is for the people who are interested in baking or who are interested in biscuits or breads. Okay. Now, this is the extract. I want you to read this silently, okay, and think about the features that the writer has used. I want you to think about, did he use the facts or did he give his opinion? And how is the language? Is it simple, complex, or what? And what are the features used by the writer? And then think about the person the writer has used, whether it is first person, second person, or third person. You have 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, starting now. Three, two, and one. Okay, I'm sure you might have the answers there. Okay, let us talk about the purpose of the article. What do you think the purpose of the article is? Is the writer persuading you to buy the bread that his, company is making? No. Yes, you're right. It is not about persuading or convincing someone to buy the bread from his company. Then what is it? He is trying to inform you. How did you come up to this conclusion that the purpose here is to inform? What is he informing? He's informing you about his company. Where is it? And what is he planning? He's planning to launch mass production of biscuits. And how many biscuits have they developed? Okay, the original biscuit recipes that they have developed, and that they have installed a new 40,000 production line, which will be doubled, okay, later in the production capacity to 50 to 60 tons per month. So what is the purpose here? The purpose of this is to inform. Okay, now let us look at the key features. What is it, an opinion? Does the writer state his opinion or the facts? It is facts. How do I know it is facts? Because the figures are there. Yes, the figures are there. It is facts, and there is no no phrases like in my opinion, I think, okay, my personal view is that. So that language is not there. So we know that it is presenting facts. Even the numbers here, it shows that it is facts. Information is presented. Okay. Now what about the language? Is it informal language? Is it informal language? It is not informal. It is formal language. If you look at the words like launch, okay, mass production, okay, then it says installed, production capacity, and so on. So the language that the writer has used is formal, and it is complex as well. If you see here, I have highlighted few words in red and in green. Okay, now if you see, the sentence starts from here and goes on till here, and it is, the sentences are joined using a conjunction and a subordinate conjunction here and in that. So it shows that it's a complex sentence. And then the writer has used third person because there is no I, there is no you. Okay, and we find it's here. So use of third person is evident from the extract. I hope the lesson is clear. Okay, so if you have any queries, if you did not understand anything, of course you are welcome to send your queries to me, and inshallah I'll try to clarify your doubts when we have a live session on Zoom. Till then, take care and thank you.